Hello, how's it going? Wow, there's so many of you here already. I'm so glad you're here. While we wait for a few other people to join, I wanted to put a few things in the chat. Nope, not that. Not that. I wanted to share with you guys, here is my free photography business essentials list, and it also has a long list of camera options if you are wanting to become a photographer but you don't have a camera yet. So if you know you are interested in photography but you don't have a camera yet, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about things with you. I know this is so scary. 10 years ago when I first started, the thought of even figuring out what a camera was, what a certain lens meant was so overwhelming. So there's that PDF. And then I also have my manual mode cheat sheet right here. And these are the freebies I've been offering if you follow me on Instagram. And I just wanted to give these to you. This manual mode cheat sheet is literally explains the how to shoot in manual mode on your nice fancy camera. And I'm going to go over some of those things today, which is exciting. Okay, a few other things that I want to put in well, let me get these things in here first. First off, I have a couple of different offers today, which are really exciting. And I'll talk about these more, obviously, throughout the call. I'm just going to put these up here so that anyone can access these during the call. Okay, one more, and then we can get closer to getting started. Okay, let's see. All right, I would love for you guys to get involved in the chat. I want to know, I see some people like, let's see, how many people are here right now? Right now I have 5 women so far. So hi, Paige, Angie, Texas crew, Megan, and Hillary. I'm hoping that's you guys. Welcome. I'd love to hear where you're from. I'm guessing Texas crew is from Texas. I'm in Utah. I live up in Oakley, which is kind of near Camas or Park City or Heber, depending on how well you know Utah. But if you can, I'd love for you guys to type in the chat where you're from, where you're listening from. Yeah, I'm going to wait another minute or two, and then we will get started with the training. Paige and Maddie were from North Texas. Hi. Am I remembering correctly, Paige and Maddie, you're a mom and a daughter, right? Is that right? Who's the mom? Who's the daughter? Welcome. Or correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I'm hearing someone. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi. I'm Paige. I'm the mom, Maddie.
Hi, awesome. Have you always been interested in photography?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
How
have
old
to
are
take
you?
pictures.
What did you say?
I'm 20.
You're 20.
21.
Awesome.
21. I'm 21.
So old, not. But that's exciting. This is like a great time to be learning. Do you know much about like how to shoot in manual mode or anything?
Not really. I normally do an auto.
Okay.
She took some
Tonight,
really good pictures this past summer. She's got a new baby nephew, but she took some pregnancy photos and she did a really good job. But we had trouble. She had trouble with the newborn in the room, just a dark room.
yes,
so
that's normal. Just so you
why we're
know,
here.
Maddie, that's normal. Don't feel bad about yourself because that is very tricky lighting, but that's awesome. You're already shooting. I am going to talk tonight a little bit about how to shoot in manual mode. It's going to be a lot of information, so feel free to ask questions. And Texas crew, hi, Jamie, welcome. Glad you're here. Oh, you changed your name. That's awesome. Great, welcome. And Vancouver, Megan, that's so cool. Awesome. Sorry, it might be late where you guys are. So thanks for showing up. If anyone else wants to introduce themselves, welcome to. I am going to get started. When I share the training, I can't really see the chat. So please, if you have questions at all, you want clarification, just unmute yourself and ask it, because I can't really see the chat for some reason. What if I bring up the chat? I don't know. Anyways, something you'll learn about me is I'm really bad with tech, which is kind of shocking and confusing because I'm a photographer, but I'm figuring it out. And so far, nothing has gone wrong. So we're killing it so far. Okay, to share my screen and put this down. Hey, welcome. Please go away. Okay. All righty. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're going to get started. Like I said, ask questions. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself and talk. I'd love to hear from you. I'm so happy you're here. Showing up here means you are interested in photography. Duh. And you are interested in investing in yourself and in learning something new. And hopefully wanting to make money, right? I'm sure you're nervous and wondering so many things. So I just want to start this whole thing by saying, I promise you, you can do this. You are not too late. You can make money and you can bless yourself and your family. I promise you, you got this. Okay. So I know it's so scary for many women to even consider starting something new, like learning photography and running and having their own photography business. That's very scary, but I promise you, you can do that. Okay, you are in the right place right now if you are ready to make some money, if you are ready to invest in yourself, if you are looking for a creative outlet, if you have been wanting to be a photographer, and if you are ready to grow. This is not for you if you're not ready to learn, you're not willing to be a beginner, you're not ready to take time to do this, and you're not wanting money. A couple things to keep in mind. But this is the outline of how this training is going to go. I want you guys to understand what we're doing. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and I'm going to teach you 5 things I wish I had known before I started photography. And along with that, I'm going to teach you how to shoot in manual mode. And then I'm going to talk about my photography course so you can see if it's right for you. I need you to know that as a businesswoman, I do things differently. I truly believe that the world is a better place when women and moms are empowered and make money, and it's my goal to help make this happen. Also, I will not sacrifice my family, my sanity, my health, and a beautiful life with my family for the sake of my business. Sometimes I'm not perfect at this, but these are my priorities. My business comes second. And my goal is to teach other women how to have this too. I am anti-hustler culture. I am not trying to teach women how to be hustlers, how to work themselves to death. That is not the goal here. And I include God in my life, my business, and in this photography course. He is my business partner and my guide. And for that, I'm so thankful. Also, I am not trying to convince anyone into this photography course. I know there are women out there who have been searching and praying for this for themselves and their families. And I also know that this isn't right for every single woman out there. And if it's not for you, it's totally fine. But if this does speak to you today and resonates with you, I am so excited to help you and serve you and empower you. So how it started with me. This is my story. And I tell the story because when we see women out there in the world doing things, we just think, wow, that came so easy to her. I could never do what she does. But this is why I need to tell my story, right? I was just like you 10 years ago, in a way. Let me tell you how it all started. So I have always wanted a nice camera, but I never told anyone. And the reason is because I am so scared of tech, as I kind of talked about. And so I would see people taking pictures. I would totally critique them and judge them because I'm like a picture snob, but I was never, ever going to go get a camera. So 10 years ago, or a little over 10 years ago, I was newly married and I was an 8th grade history teacher. My husband surprised me the week before we left on a trip to Mexico for my birthday with a brand new camera. This is my first real camera. And I had never told anyone I even wanted a camera. I was shocked. And I was so scared. I was almost upset with him. I opened this camera and I was just like, how am I going to do this? I cannot do this. And I just felt so much pressure and it was so scary. Like I said, I felt this because me and tech just like really very hard for me. But my husband is very techie and he actually already knew how to work a camera, how to shoot in manual mode. So he promised me he would teach me. And I'm not kidding when I say he had to teach me over and over and over again, everything, stuff with my camera, stuff with my computer, stuff with editing. And he was my coach and my helper. And now that's my goal, is to be what he was for me to other women. And so that's just a picture of me and my husband in the middle. But those other pictures are some of the pictures I got that next week in Mexico. And I was very proud of myself. I had so much fun. I was shocked. So after that trip to Mexico, I just was obsessed and I started taking pictures of everything and anything I could think of. My husband, my dog, flowers, horses in the neighborhood, just like everything. And I started to get a little confident and hopeful and started to wonder, maybe I could make some money from this. So I asked a dear friend, Annie, this is her family in that picture, if she would be okay if I did her family's pictures to see how it would go. And that photo shoot changed everything. I got brave enough to start advertising and people started calling me after this. And these are some of the pictures from that very first shoot. And if I had never put myself out there to try and do this shoot, which was very scary for me, I never would be where I am now, right? We have to put ourselves out there and we have to do these scary things. And I was able to bless Annie with these pictures, and seeing how much she loved them just gave me so much confidence. So from there, I started shooting more and more. And this is all the while I was a school teacher and I didn't have kids yet. So as I got busier shooting, I decided I needed to upgrade my laptop and then eventually my camera and lens. My first goal was to upgrade my laptop. I still remember it was going to me and my husband did some research and we decided, okay, we want this laptop. It's $2,500. And that felt like so much money. And it is so much money. And so I set a goal to make that amount of money within 5 months from my photography business so I could pay for it. And then I was shocked when I ended up making it in less than 2 months. And so once I got my new laptop, I set the same goal. I decided I wanted to upgrade my camera body and my lens, and it was weird. Somehow it was, again, $2,500. And I set the goal to do it in 3 months' time this time. And again, I was able to do it in less than 2 months. And obviously, this was just giving me so much confidence, and I was gaining that momentum. So quite quickly, does this? Okay. So basically, I feel like this is out of order, but I was shooting and I was teaching, and once I had my baby, it was in the middle of the school season. I literally had my baby and I loved her so much. There was just no way I was going to go back to school. And I always knew I didn't want to go back to school once I had kids. And so I was able to be done teaching, have my baby, be home with her, and continue my photography business, just, a couple hours a week while my husband was with my baby, or my mother-in-law or my own mom was with my baby. And pretty quickly, I was shocked. I was able to work my photography business, not even part-time, and I was able to make more than I made as a teacher. And now I make over triple my income in my part-time job, as I make over triple as a photographer in a part-time job than what I made as a teacher full-time. It's pretty crazy. And looking back, I can see the mistakes I made, which is normal, right? And I wanted to share those mistakes with you so you don't do them. And along with growing my business, I have grown my family. Oh, I see now. Yeah. Anyways, this is my family. This is couple years old, these pictures. But these are the 5 things I wish I had known right here. And I'm going to go through each of them. So let's start on the first one. First of all, when it comes to running, so there's a difference between photography and running a photography business, right? I wasn't just taking pictures, I was running a business. And something I learned over time is that photography is actually the least important part of the business, which is super confusing, right? Of course, we need to have nice pictures and they should be pretty and professional and people need to like them. But if you don't have business skills, if you don't value yourself, market yourself, and put yourself out there, it does not matter how good your pictures are. So yes, this is not simply a photography course. I'm not just teaching you how to take pictures with your camera, how to edit them, how to use light. I'm teaching you all of those things, but I'm also teaching you business. I'm going to teach you mindset, believing in yourself, not limiting yourself, understanding your value and how to price things, marketing, branding, client relationships, etc. This is about business work and inner work as well. Another thing I learned, a lot of people think that editing in photography is just super easy because of presets. Sometimes you might not know what a preset is. It's just like a filter that people apply to pictures when they're editing, right? And lots of people think editing for photographers is so easy because all we do is apply a filter and we're done. But when it comes to editing our pictures and getting the look we want, I learned that presets are the least important part of editing and they do not fix a bad photo or make an okay photo better. And that actually, when it comes to the way our pictures look, the most important part is understanding light. And in my course, I have a whole module about light because it is, like I said, the most important part. Once you start learning manual settings with your camera and then using light correctly, this is when a preset pops or the way you edit your picture pops. And it helps you get that unique look for you and your business. Okay, while we're talking about this, I am going to teach you the 3 main aspects of how to shoot in manual mode. And I call this the light equation. So I have this here. This is that cheat sheet I put in the chat. So if you're new in the up in the chat, I attached a few PDFs. This is one of them. This is a free manual mode cheat sheet. So we're going to talk about a few things. The first thing you need to understand when you are shooting in manual mode is you have to watch the light meter. I don't know how well you can see this, but a light meter is this line graph right here. And it is measuring the exposure. Okay, so you will be able to see how your exposure is based on the light meter in your camera. Your goal is to have the meter show your image or where you're looking at right at 0 on the bar graph or on this line graph. Okay. In manual mode, you will focus on 3 main settings, which together I call the light equation. As you adjust these 3 settings, you can properly expose your image, which when your image is properly exposed, you're at that 0. Okay. And what the heck is exposure? When an image is too dark, it is underexposed, and that's when it's in the negatives. That is underexposed and it's too dark. And when it is too bright, it's in the positives and it's overexposed. And we are trying to have perfect exposure by adjusting these 3 settings. The 3 settings that manage your light exposure are ISO, aperture, which is also called f-stop. That can get confusing, but aperture and f-stop are the same thing, and shutter speed. So I'm going to talk about these, okay? All right. The first thing I always adjust when I pull out my camera at a shoot or I pull out my camera and I'm going to take pictures is ISO. What the heck is ISO? ISO is how sensitive your camera is to light. Back in the film days, you would buy film with different ISO depending on the lighting scenario you were shooting in. So the lower the ISO, if you look at this graph here, like 100, That means the lighting scenario you are shooting in is very sunny and has a lot of light. So if you, back in the film days, knew you were going to be going and shooting like at the beach or something, you would buy ISO film at 100. But if you were going to maybe be indoors, you would need to grab ISO film at 800. And what this is doing is the higher the number of ISO, the more sensitive your camera is to light, and you need to up your sensitivity and as it gets darker and darker so that your camera can pull in more light. Okay, again, remember, we are trying to perfectly expose our pictures here. So when it is sunny, you're going to have your ISO at 100. When it's partly cloudy, it's usually around 200. Overcast, often around 400. And once you get indoors, it gets really tricky because it can get dark. And that's where you start at 800 or you go higher and higher. Something to keep in mind is that the higher your ISO and the more sensitive you are making your camera to pull in that light, the more grainy your picture becomes. So if your ISO is at 100, it's very clear. But when you start getting up to 800, 1000, 1600, it starts to be grainier and have more noise. So it's not always the best. However, if it's dark, you are going to need to up your ISO so your picture is not black or so dark, right? So this is the very first thing I adjust. I get somewhere, I look at the light, I say, okay, my ISO probably, it's sunny, probably needs to be around 100. Next, I adjust the aperture or the f-stop on my camera. Okay, so what the heck is aperture? Your aperture decides how much of your image is in focus or your depth of field. And depending on how much is in focus, it also depends how much light you're letting in. There's going to be a graph in the next slide, so this will make more sense. So a narrow depth of field, you have a lower number of aperture, and that means that less is in focus. A narrow depth of field means your subject will be in focus while behind you the background will be blurry. And when you have a narrow or a smaller aperture number, you are allowing in more light. But when it is a wide depth of field or a higher number of aperture, there is more in focus. So your subject and the background will all be in focus. However, your image will be darker. I promise you, I'm going to show you a picture in the next slide. It's going to make sense for my visual people. You focus your camera when you push your shutter button halfway down. And so when you focus on something, you know, when you look through a digital camera, DSLR camera, and focus it, usually there are red spots as to where you are focusing. And when you focus on something, you are focusing on a plane as in like a math plane, okay? So if you were to focus and take a picture of me and focus on my nose, depending on how narrow or wide your depth of field is, more or less of me and what's behind me will be in focus. I personally like to keep my aperture lower because I love that blurry background. I love my clients or my subjects to be in focus, and I love the background to be blurry. So here is my picture for you visual people. So a shallow or narrow depth of field on the left can have a aperture down to 1.2 or 1.4. And you can see what that does is that opens up your aperture all the way. So because it's so open, it allows more light in. But what it does, if you look down here at these flowers, is it makes your subject really pop because the background is out of focus. Because if you were taking a picture of me with a very shallow depth of field, a very low number, that only a little bit of me is going to be in focus and then the back is going to be blurry. Okay, but as you increase the number of your aperture, you can see it starts to make the, what is this called? I'm trying to remember the word. It's making your lens, kind of is the right word, get smaller. And so it's allowing less and less light in. And so you're going to need to take things like your ISO and up them to make sure that you are keeping your image properly exposed. And so it's letting less light in. However, As your number goes higher, it's allowing more and more of your image to be in focus. When you shoot landscapes, like a waterfall and flowers and trees, you want your aperture to be a higher number because you want all of it in focus. You don't want any of it to be blurry. Is this making sense? I know this is a lot of information. Okay. I know it's a lot. I promise you, this is everything I go over in module 49 and more, or in module 1 and more. And it is also, this is everything I offer in that $49 offer. It's a new deal that I have never offered before. Okay, the last thing, I know this is a lot, is shutter speed. And I think this one will make the most sense to you. The last part of this light equation is shutter speed. This is simply choosing how fast or slow your shutter opens, right? So when a picture takes a picture, it moves like this. You know, that sound it makes. The faster your shutter speed opens, the more crisp your image will be and the better you can freeze motion. And then the slower your shutter speed is, if it's too slow, it can cause blur, right? If you're shooting kids playing basketball and your shutter speed is too slow, they're going to be blurry, okay? And so I recommend, is this thing in your way? Let me move, let's see if I can move it. So you need to make sure that your shutter speed is fast enough so that your subjects are not blurry. I personally never go slower than 1/200, or else my pictures start to get blurry. However, something to think about is when your shutter speed is slower, it's open longer, so it allows more light to come in. And the faster your shutter speed is, because it's open so fast, it's not letting as much light in. So you can see now that depending on what you want for a picture and depending on your lighting scenario, you now have to balance your ISO, your aperture or f-stop, and your shutter speed so that your image is properly exposed. Okay, those are the 3 things. I know that's a lot. Oh, shoot. I know that's a lot. Does anyone have any questions before I move on? Because that is the basics of shooting in manual mode, is understanding those 3 settings. There are more settings I do talk about in module 1, but if you wanted to go out and play tomorrow with your camera, and you take this cheat sheet, you can start understanding what all this does. Okay, I don't think there's any questions. All right. So, this is the next mistake I didn't know that I wish I had known. And it's that your social media following doesn't matter, or yeah, the amount of followers you have does not matter. So the amount of followers you have has absolutely nothing to do with how much money you make or how many shoots you book as a brand new photographer or even as an experienced photographer. Truly, all you need is a handful of loyal clients and you can stay busy. This is insane. I have about 5 families that live around me, who are truly loyal to me. With them, I have literally photographed all of their family pictures, wedding pictures, business pictures, and all of their friends' pictures because they refer everyone to me. And it just keeps getting, I'm not kidding. Like I listed them out. The Neff family, the McNeil family, and the Edmonds are like my main families. And almost all of my business and everything stems from them. So I promise you, if you're thinking, oh, I can't be a successful photographer because I only have 100 followers on my Instagram, do not let that hold you back. Okay. All right. Mistake number 4 is to value yourself. The importance of valuing yourself. What do I mean by that? People will not value you if you do not value yourself and your time. And so now I'm talking about like pricing yourself as a photographer and valuing yourself. So obviously your pricing as a photographer, your experience will play a role in your pricing. But I promise you, you can gain experience as a new photographer much more quickly than you realize and much more easily than you would expect. So I got to tell you some of these things. There are photographers out there who their edge is to be the cheapest. And there's people like that in every industry, right? Hairdressers, I don't know, dress designers, painters, I don't know, right? But let me tell you, the absolute worst reason someone can hire you for anything, not just photography, is because you are the cheapest option. What that means is that your client does not actually value you. They only value their money and all they want is the deal. And the thing that truly has blown my mind over the last 10 years is that the less I charge as a photographer, the less I am valued by the client and the worse I am treated. And the amount you charge as a photographer or as anyone in any industry attracts different type of clients. So the question that I have for you is like, do you value yourself, and what kind of clients as a potential photographer are you trying and hoping to attract? And this is like my favorite stuff to teach. And this is one of my most important things I teach in my course, is the importance of value and pricing. And there's a whole module around this. So don't let that stress you out. But people don't realize that this plays such a huge role in your business. Okay. The next mistake, the fifth mistake, is that you can only make as much money as you think you can. So when we allow our mind to be open and give ourselves permission to dream big, that is when it can happen. Money is a fun and interesting thing. What people do not realize is that we are the ones keeping ourselves back from making money. If we can dream big, we can imagine ourselves, being, oh, I'm going to make 500, 1,000, 2,000 a month as a photographer plus, right? If we can actually imagine it in our head, then we can make it possible. If we won't even allow ourselves to imagine it, then yeah, it's not possible, right? We're not even going to try it for it. So if we want to be something or someone, AKA someone who has lots of money, or like a photographer who makes 1,000 plus a month, then we need to ask ourselves, how would someone who is a photographer who makes $1,000 a month be living and acting now? And then we need to act like that right now in each of our daily decisions. And this is a big thing that comes from James Clear. He wrote one of my favorite books, The Atomic Habits. I'm sure most of you have heard of it or even read it. And along with this is a bonus mistake I want to talk about, is most people don't realize the importance of mindset when it comes to our business. Mindset is the absolute key to everything. So the most way people think is called the have, do, be model. I want to have X, so I need to do X, and then I'll be X. So for example, I want to build my new dream home. So I want to have it. So that means in order to get my new dream home, I need to do X, Y, and Z. And then if I do those things, then I can be the person who builds that nice new home. Right? This is how most of us think, but that's not actually the right way. We need to reverse it. And this is called the be, do, have approach. The correct and empowering approach to get anything in life is to do the opposite of that. We need to first think, how does a person who builds their dream home, how are they acting? How are they being? And how can I be that right now? And then as I live a life that emulates that, then I'll start doing the things that person would do, and then I'll get it. Does that make sense? So we have to reverse our thinking from have, do, be to be, do, have. Does that all make sense? And when I learned this a couple years ago, it blew my mind, and I am constantly working on this all the time. So be, do, have. My question for you is, what kind of mom, woman, 21-year-old, and business owner do I want to be? I want you to think about this and even write it down tonight or in the chat. Now, after you've really thought about who you want to be, I want you to try and start being her right now. What would she be doing, and how would she be living and acting? What decisions would she be making right now? And what will you have then as a result of being her right now and doing what she would do? And I hope you can use this method for the rest of your life to empower yourself to be who you want to be and embody the dream version of yourself. When you are being her, you will do and have what you want. So now remember, nothing I've shared today with you is fluff. And this course that I'm about to talk to you about includes literally everything you need to know to have a successful business. This course literally includes everything I have learned in the last 10 years and everything I wish I had when I first started. And remember, you get to run this business how you want, and I'm going to help you. And you can make your business as profitable as you want. So what is included in this course? There are 8 modules. The first 4 modules teach you all things photography, right? The very first module, module 1, the one that I'm offering, if you are nervous to do this whole course, but just want to dip your toes in and see if it's right for you, I am offering module 1, which is normally $199 for $49. And that is shooting in manual mode. So it's everything, a lot of the things I just taught you and more. And then in the other modules, I teach you editing, how to edit like a professional, light, because we talked about this, how important light is, and then how to, everything regarding photo shoots, how to conduct them, how to book them, what to do before, during, after, posing, all of that. Then the last 4 modules, these are my favorite, are the business modules. This has to do with marketing, branding, business setup, pricing and value, business hours, boundaries, and productivity, and business and money mindset. And then there's all kinds of, excuse me, bonuses with it. How to decide on your pricing, posing guides, how to do killer mini sessions, photography contracts that have been written up by real lawyers, and inspirational input list, how to location scout, and more. So literally, I tried to think of absolutely everything you would need, and I have included it for you. So imagine making hundreds or thousands of dollars a month and making that money while working when you want and how you want while doing something that you love, and making that money without all the guessing games and overwhelm beginner photographers experience. So these, I wanted to address the most common questions that people have once they learn about my course. And I'm going to go over all of these in the next few slides. Can I do this from home? Can I do this if I'm not techie, artistic, or outgoing? Can I do this if I'm busy? Can I afford a camera and this course? Can I do this with little kids? Am I too old to do this? And can I really make money doing this? The first one, can I do photography from home? So Paige, this is Paige, how cute is she? She was worried about this too. And she attended the same webinar as a nurse, looking for a way out of that industry. She's married with 2 little kids, and she just truly wanted to work from home. And it was so cool. She took my course. And within 2 months of my course being over, she sent me this screenshot, this message on Instagram. And she said, I made money from the comfort of my own home today. So grateful for you and your course. So that is a picture of her with a backdrop she set up in her home and did photo shoots out of and made money. So I wanted to show you, these are literally the pictures she took that day inside of her home. Now, we know a lot of photographers go out, right, outside or to homes or to businesses to shoot. But even after that, even if you're not doing your shoots in your home like Paige is, you will be doing all of your editing, all of your client correspondence, your marketing. You will do all of that at home when it's good for you at your own flexible hours. Okay. Next question, can I do this if I'm not techie or artistic or outgoing? I feel like those are the common traits people think photographers have. And so this is Tommy, and she wondered this too. She is a very introverted person. She's a science school teacher. She was always interested in photography, but she just didn't think she could be successful. And so she took a leap of faith and took my course, and she realized even as an introvert, she had her own strengths as a photographer. I have seen literally women of all kinds of women and men be successful in photography, even though they're not techie, that would be me, even though they're not necessarily super artistic or outgoing or people, right? But I promise you, you are perfect for photography just as you are. You don't need to try and be something you're not, or you shouldn't be letting these thoughts keep you from becoming a photographer. And Tommy just literally had to she had so many bookings, she had to slow it down. She was so overwhelmed. And look at her cute. These are some bridals she did just a few months after taking my course. So I promise you, anyone can be a photographer. There's no resume or preferred quality traits needed to be a photographer. Okay, can I do this if I'm so busy? How can I find the time? So here is Devaney. She's also so cute. I love all these people in my course so much that these women have taken my course, obviously. So Devaney is a single mom with 4 side jobs, no joke, to stay above water. She is so busy. but she knew she wanted to have something of her own that she loved, a business she could do in the margins of her life. So she took my course, and 6 months later, she has grown her business with her young son at her side. She's making an extra several hundred a month without overwhelming herself. And it has been so inspiring watching her. She said, "It hasn't been hard to make it happen. I understand what time I have available for my photography business. I set those boundaries and keep them, and then I make money doing something I love." And these are all her cute pictures. Photography is, I will always shout this from the rooftops. Photography is the perfect job. You can work when you want, as much as you want, and fit it right into the margins of your life. Next question. Can I afford a camera and this course? So this is Annie, her daughter. She was worried about this too. She's a young mom with a daughter and a baby on the way, and her husband is still in school and college, and money is very tight for them. But she realized that investing in the camera and this course was more than a worthwhile investment for her family. Since investing in the camera and this course, she has been able to serve her college community and offer pictures for young families like her, or graduation pictures or headshots. She's done all kinds of fun things. So what was a very scary decision of spending a couple hundred on a camera and on this course became a source of extra income and added peace for her and her little family in their tight financial situation. The investment of the camera and this course is worth the money you will make from it. And these two pictures on the left are her and her family. And then those are some of the pictures, the beautiful pictures she's taken. Okay, can I quit my job and do this? Let me introduce you to Madeline. Madeline was always a teacher, but once she gave birth to her second daughter, she decided she wanted to be home with her kids, and she realized she still wanted to make money, but not to have to go back to teaching. So she reached out to me and took my course. Even though she's a busy mom with two very young children, she actually has a third on the way now. 6 months later, she's making an extra several hundred a month or more, booking photo shoots in the evenings when her husband is home and editing during nap time, and she's crushing it. Oh, am I too old? So this is Sarah. I know she doesn't look that old. She, but aside from Sarah, I have had two 65-year-old women in my course, and it is so fun. I promise you, you're not too old. Then there's Sarah. She's a teacher assistant with all her children in high school and college, and she's a different kind of busy, but she was ready to pursue the creativity of photography and make money. And since taking my course, she's busy taking pictures of friends from within her school network and her children's friends. And she's not only making money, but feeling the satisfaction and enjoyment of enriching her life with her very own creative business and knowing that she is following her dreams, no matter her age or stage of life. Okay, and can I really make money? This is Dory. She is my most favorite story from my course. She is a recently divorced mom of 4 older boys, and she runs a dog breeding business, and she wanted another job she could add to bring home some extra income. She took my course and fully committed herself. Listen to literally what she wrote me. During the 8-week course, I already made $850. I will be making an additional $2,700 with all of the future sessions I have booked within the 8-week course. Is that not crazy? It like blew my mind. So I can't even believe it. And literally, you could do this too. You could be Dory if that's what you wanted. You truly can make money from photography. So yeah, this is my course. The Enlightened Lens Academy. What will it cost me? Let's talk smart girl math. For the amount of money you can go on to make in the next decade from all you'll learn in this course, the cost is practically pennies. And this is what we call an insane ROI, or return on investment. Normally, anyone can buy this course at any time for $14.97. But when I open doors during certain launches, it is only $9.97 right now. I also have 2 other offers, or I have my course for $4.97, or you can start you can try it out for $49. So, and I also have payment plans where you can start with $250 down. I will explain all of that to you in a minute, but I promise you are getting so much value in literally everything I've learned, and you truly can make this money back within 2 to 8 months. So what are the options? So this is my newest option I've never offered before. For $49 instead of $199, what it's worth, you get my entire module 1. It's all about how to use your fancy camera. And this is a great option to get you started if you just aren't sure if this is right for you, if you want to try it and see if this is something you really can do. And you'll get everything you need to know when it comes to shooting like a pro and shooting in manual mode in your camera. Okay. I also have my course that is for $497. And what this is you get all 8 modules, you get every guide, every bonus, every video, and you can do this all on your own at your own pace. I just send you the course and it's yours and you have it all. But my favorite thing and the funnest thing is, excuse me, my 8-week course with me for $997. And what this is it's 8 weeks and we go through 1 module a week, all 8 modules taught 1 week at a time with me beside you the whole time. So each week you will watch the videos and you'll get that week's guides. And then what happens is you will get on, I have each week, there is a live Zoom call and everyone who's in the course comes on and I am there for you and I answer all questions. And it's so fun because I can answer your questions and help you out, but then you also get to hear me answer other women's questions and you get to learn from that as well. And the funnest part is when women are answering and helping each other as well. And along with that, there's a private Facebook community you get to join where you get to post your weekly challenges and wins, and you get to ask questions. And all women who have taken the course are on there, and you get lifetime access to this. So you will always be able to come in and ask for help and advice. During the course, you can message me at any time for any help. And then again, there's the live calls on over Zoom each week. And this is the course option I most recommend. And I promise you, your success is my success. I love watching you. I want to help you any way I can to help you be successful because I know how scary it is to try and learn this on my own. I literally, you know this. I could not have learned any of this on my own. I had my husband, and that's who I want to be for you. I want to be your cheerleader, your helper, and just make it so that you can do this. And so these are just some of the testimonials from women who have taken my course. Like they say, go for it. Make the time to do something for yourself. Invest in your talents and your business and trust your ability to make money. I love this course so much. I honestly was sad when it ended. I had no photography or business experience, but felt like I needed something that was my own thing. I have had so much fun taking such wonderful family photos. I can't believe people trust me to capture their photos, and I owe it all to this course. I never would have done this on my own. It makes me so excited for the future. Best me decision I have made. I invested in myself and I have been reaping the rewards, not only monetary, but also building my confidence and my creative self. I'm extremely satisfied with the course. I feel like it gave me the push that I needed to start this photography journey for myself. I felt very motivated the whole time and encouraged by Tressa and the other women in my course. And I have to tell you, every single woman who has taken this course has said they would highly recommend this course. And every single woman who has completed each weekly challenge within the course has started making money from their new photography business before the 8 weeks were even over. And that is my goal. I have step-by-step challenges each week that if you do them and you apply yourself, you will be making money before it's over. That's crazy. So I know this was a whole lot of information, and I know this is a whole lot to think about, but I just want you to know that I do offer one-on-one, no pressure, free discovery calls. I have the link in the chat. You can book one with me if you'd like, where you can call me and I ask your questions and explain to me maybe your life situation, and I can help you figure out, which option is best for you, if this is right for you, all of that. But dream big, let yourself imagine making really good money, and let me teach you how to do it. So join now. I'm going to stop sharing. And I am back here. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Can I help you guys with anything while you have me? I kind of mentioned it, but in the chat, I have 2 freebies. I've got my list of essentials for starting a photography business that has a huge list of cameras if you're needing to buy a camera, and they range in pricing depending on your budget. I have my cheat sheet. Yep, it's super cool. So what I would recommend with this cheat sheet is you fold it in half. This is all that stuff I was explaining, the ISO, aperture, shutter speed, and the it's hard to see, and the exposure line bar graph. And then over here, it's so hard to see with this light, is the settings. I tell you to set and leave how they are. Like, don't ever set these this way and don't ever change them. And then my checklist of the order that I do things. First, I do my ISO, then I do my Kelvin, which I talk about in module 1, my aperture, my shutter speed, my light meter, and I take a picture. So all of that. And then up here, I have the link to the $49 deal. And then I have the link to look at the $497 and the $997 options for the course, as well as the payment plans where you just pay $250 down and then, you know, payments come out later. And then there's also the link to if you'd like to book a one-on-one call with me. The course is now officially open to buy from now until Monday night at midnight Mountain Standard Time, Utah time. So you have from tonight till Monday to join for these prices. Does anyone have questions? Can I help you guys with anything? You're welcome to put your mic on, ask a question, or type it in the chat. I just want to make sure this is all clear, that I can help you however you need. Looks like a few new people have joined. Jamie, hi. Or maybe you know Jamie, you already said you were from Texas. Angie, hi. Hillary, hi. And I don't know who iPhone 13 Pro is, but hi. And Aubrey. Okay, Hillary asked, I have a DSLR camera. Would the setting suggestions still be the same? Yes. So these settings I talked about are the settings that we use with a DSLR camera. So it can be a beginner. It can be, what's the word for medium? Intermediate. It could be like any type of camera, as long as it can shoot in manual mode. When you move it to manual mode to M, and then you can start adjusting your shutter speed, ISO, aperture. Every camera has those settings in different spots, but I can help anyone in the course learn where to adjust those depending on their camera. Did that answer your question, Hillary? I hope your name's Hillary. It says Hillary Hero. Okay, yes, okay. If you have any further questions about that, Hillary, please ask. iPhone 13 Pro, sorry, I don't know your name. You said, where did you say the link is to buy the classes? So I believe if you just scroll up on the chat, click on the chat and scroll up to the very top, I have the PDFs, and then I have the links. It says $49 deal link, and then the $497 or $997. And if you're not seeing that, oh, McCall, hi McCall. Sorry. If for some reason you're not seeing those, let me know and I can put them in the chat again. Maybe you can't scroll. I would think you could see the whole chat even if you joined late, but if you are not seeing it, okay, you don't see them. That's okay. I will relink them in just a minute. Okay, I have a Canon Rebel XTI camera. Yes. Yep. On a Canon Rebel, you just put it on manual mode. You're no longer on auto. You're going to manual mode, and you are going to be adjusting your shutter speed, your aperture, your ISO. But not in, I would recommend the order of ISO, then aperture, then shutter speed. Okay, I'm going to I came late, so maybe you've already talked about this. This is from Aubrey. But what lens would you get if you could only get one? This is a really good question. I'm going to explain this. It varies. Most cameras, usually like especially beginner cameras, when you buy them, they come with a lens or two. And we call these lenses kit lenses. These are not horrible lenses, but they're not the nicest lenses in the world. Usually what that lens is it's like an 18 to 55, 18 meaning it zooms out as far as 18 and it zooms in as far as 55. And the lowest aperture is 3.5. When I first got my camera, I got a beginner camera that had this kit lens, and this is what I used. And I made thousands of dollars with my beginner camera and my kit lens until I upgraded. I made at least $15,000 with, if not more, with my beginner camera and lens. So If you are not going to buy, if you do not want a kit lens, but you want to buy a lens, I'm going to give you 2 options, 2.5, 3 options. Okay, if you want a lens that zooms in and out, I would recommend a 24 to 70 millimeter lens. Basically, this is like the perfect lens for weddings and photo shoots because you can zoom in pretty far and you can zoom out pretty far, so you don't have to be running back and forth. And this is the lens I use most of the time. My aperture goes as low as 2.8, which is pretty low. There are 2 other lenses that are very well liked. They are called a 50 millimeter or a 35 millimeter. These lenses are called prime lenses, and they are fixed. That means you cannot zoom them in and out. They are stuck at that zoom. You cannot zoom them in, you cannot zoom them out. To get closer to someone's face, you don't zoom in, you have to walk up to them. And to get a far out picture, you have to walk back. So it requires more manual labor. However, prime lenses are considered by most photographers the nicest lenses because the lens does not have to be focused on the work of zooming in and out. They can make the glass and the mechanism extremely nice, and it can give you beautiful, clear images, and they can come with a really low ISO, not low ISO, a low aperture, which is like 1.8, 1.4, 1.2. And remember, the aperture has to do with how much is in focus. And when a number is low for aperture, then very little is in focus, and that background is so blurry and creamy and beautiful, and it really makes the subject stand out. So the question I would ask you is, sorry, this is so complicated, is would you prefer a lens that you can zoom in and out? If you do, I would recommend, I can even write them in the chat, a 24 to 70 millimeter lens with like a 2.8 aperture. Or I would probably recommend the 50 millimeter. A 50 millimeter lens, the zoom, when you look through it, it's as close to the human eye as possible. So like how zoomed in it is about what our eyes see. So 50 millimeter or a 35 millimeter. The smaller the number, the more zoomed out it is. So with the 35, it's a little more zoomed out. Do I have experience with mirrorless cameras? Would this course apply to that type of camera? Yes. Okay. So a mirrorless camera, I don't have one yet, but I am going to get one very soon. The only difference that it has is it doesn't have a mirror in it, which has to do with the mechanisms inside. However, when you shoot with a mirrorless camera, you are using all these exact same, nothing else is different. So you still are going to shoot in manual mode with shutter speed, aperture, ISO, and all of the other settings I teach you about. So it doesn't change anything. Whatever I teach in regards to a camera with a mirror, which are like normal DSLRs, or a mirrorless, it all applies. So it doesn't matter. Any other questions? These are great questions. It's so fun to have you guys interacting. Okay, before you guys leave, I'm going to reattach all these things. So sorry, it's going to take me a second. Ooh, okay. Let's go. I have them all right here. All right, so here is the link for the $49 deal. Paste. There it is. Did it go in? Yes, go. There it is. Okay. If you aren't quite sure yet and you want to try it out, if you buy this $49 deal and you realize, oh my gosh, I love this, I want to get more into this, I have options for you to upgrade at any time. So this is not hurting you in any way. This is more to help the people who just like are too scared to ever buy the full course. Okay, the next option. So this is the link where you can check out the $497 option and the $997 option. And when you click on these, when you go to check out, there is a payment plan option where you're putting $250 down, and then like every 2 weeks you're paying $250. And here's the other link. This is to book what I call it a one-on-one, no pressure call. Because I don't want people to think I'm pressuring them. I'm just truly trying to help people know like if this is right for them. And if it is right for them, which option is best for them, depending on your life scenario. I will say I don't have any more working hours for a one-on-one call until Monday, and Monday is the last day to buy. So if that is stressful to you, please message me on Instagram and we can work something out. But yes, this is only available. All of this stuff is only available until Monday night. And then I am not opening up the doors to this course for $9.97 again until 2025. So if you are, wanting to start 2025, already having learned all of this stuff, now is the time to do it. I have had many women buy this course and then go buy a camera. It is not unusual to not have a camera when you buy this course. So like I said, if you need help, oh, let me put in my PDFs as well. I'm sorry, so many things. Here's my essentials list with a list of camera names and lens names that you can go and look on Amazon or Best Buy or B&H or whatever to buy, as well as other things that you'll need for running a photography business so that like there's no surprise. And here is that manual mode cheat sheet, this paper I've been showing you lots, even though it's kind of hard to see because of this ring light that I have on. Does anyone else have any questions? Can I help you guys with anything? I'm happy to answer anything. Yeah. Okay. One other thing about this course is that it will start next Tuesday and there will be a call each week on Tuesday evenings at 8, and each week will be a module. However, it does go into the holidays. So the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's, we will not have calls, and our last 2 calls will be the first 2 weeks of January. So in a way, you actually get more time with me because those 2 weeks when we don't have calls, you can still be messaging me and asking me for help. So don't let the holidays keep you from doing this. Oops. Can you explain depth of field again? Okay. Yes. Depth of field is affected. It is wide or it is narrow, depending on the aperture number you choose. I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna go back to that that slide on my, let's see here. Is it? Okay. All right. The easiest way to visually understand depth of field is to look at these 2 pictures of flowers, okay? On the left is a shallow depth of field, meaning if you were to take a picture of me, your ISO is a lower number, so less of the plane. So if you focus on my eye, only a little bit behind my eye, that plane is very small. It's a shallow depth of field is in focus. So it'll be my face, which is in focus, and then everything else behind me will be blurry, and it'll really make me stand out. But once you higher your aperture number, you are widening your depth of field. You are increasing the amount of what is in focus, okay? And so if you go to take a picture of me with a tree right behind me, if you have a wide or deep depth of field, more is in focus, so you will see clearly me and the tree behind me. But if you have a shallow depth of field or a lower aperture number, you will see me and a blurry tree behind me. Does that make sense? There's no right or wrong way to choose your depth of field. This is where the artistry comes in and the personal preference comes in. I love my pictures to look like this flower picture on the left. I love when, if I'm taking like portraits of a senior girl, I love when you see her so perfectly in focus and then the whole background is blurry, like this flower here. But some other photographers might like to have a wider depth of field, and they might like to take a picture of a senior girl where she's in focus and everything else behind her is in focus too. It's not blurry. Excuse me. Does that make sense, Aubrey? Did that help? Feel free to ask more questions, because if this is like, it's a lot to understand, and it's confusing because it's planes, right? You're trying to see how much or how little is in focus. So this is a narrow depth of field, a low aperture number where very little is in focus, and this is a wider depth of field where more is in focus. I hope that helped you, Aubrey, but feel free to ask follow-up questions, and you're even welcome. These are good questions. You're welcome to even use your microphone or show your face if you want, no pressure. So what about a big group, families like 15 people? What aperture would you use? Okay, these are great questions. So when you focus your camera, wherever it's focused, so if someone took a picture of me, if they focus on my eye, when you focus on someone, the plane of what is in focus starts on my eye and goes back behind. It doesn't go in front. So when you take a picture, thank you, Hillary, for being here. When you take a picture of a group, you want to make sure that you have a wide enough depth of field so that you focus on the people in front, and that it goes all the way to the people in back, so that the people in back, if it's like 3 rows of people, aren't blurry, but they're also in focus. So if I'm doing a small family and they're all in a row, I might have my aperture at 3.2, 3.5. But if I'm taking a group of about 15 people, if they're only stacked with like one, like the kids in front and the kids in back, I'll usually do like 4.0. But if they start having 3 layers, like kids, person, then I'll be at 5.5 for my aperture to make sure everyone is in focus. Did that help you, Aubrey? That makes sense? Yes, that is a great question. You must have some experience, because beginners don't usually ask questions like that. Have you taken any pictures before, Aubrey? Like, have you been playing around and have you taken family pictures before? Have you done anything like that? Maybe you don't want to answer. And if you don't want to answer, that's fine. Yes, I have, just here and there. Awesome. So, are you like considering this course? Are you wanting to like commit to photography in a business and make more money? I'm guessing this is what you're trying to decide, right? Like, okay, do I want to go full force into this? You're still not sure. Yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to pressure you. I was just wondering where you're at. That's awesome. I have had women. So my course was written for someone who has never picked up a camera before. I am teaching you everything from ground zero, from the ground up. But I have had several women like you, Aubrey, who have taken my course, who they already kind of know how to shoot in manual mode. They've kind of done photography on and off for a year or years, and they've just never fully committed. And they take this course to commit. And while they may have known some stuff, they still learn so much. So I promise you that you'll learn stuff in here. And this course can be a place for you if this is what you want to do. But I know it's scary to commit. There's a few of you here left. I don't want to take your whole night, but if there's any other questions, please know. So if we take the course, will we still have access to info on the modules after we? Yes. My goal is to have the course available to you for your lifetime. I feel like remember, I'm not very techy. The place that I host my course through, they might have made me put like a timeline, but I made it like as long as possible. And if for some reason you got kicked out, I promise you just message me and I'll like re-give it to you. You should have this for your lifetime. You should be able to reference this, or, after the 8 weeks, watch things, all of that. Is the course deal only available for a certain time? So right now, the $997 deal and the $497 deal, that is only offered right now while the course doors are, while I'm doing this launch from today through Monday. And then after this, my course, you can technically buy it at any time for $14.97. And then for $9.90, the $4.97 one goes to the $9.97. But I will be launching again at the beginning of January as well. So every once in a while I do launches where I give like the best deal possible. But it is technically available to you always. Thank you. Thanks, Maddie. Thanks, Paige. I'm so glad you were here. Thanks, Jamie. Does this course include posing too? Yes, I have a whole posing guide for families, couples, and do I have one for families and couples? And then I would be happy to help you go over posing too. Like on our weekly calls, we could talk about, hey, I have a shoot coming up. It's, I don't know, it's a brand shoot, it's a product shoot, it's a senior session, whatever. I am so happy to sit in the call with you and plan it out and give you ideas. Like these calls that we have each week, I can help you in however way you want. You can tell me, hey, I have this next week. What do I need to be doing? How can you help me? And I'll help you. But yes, it does include posing. And I have a whole video about posing actually too, aside from just my guide. Thank you. Oh, you're so nice. Thanks, Megan. Hoping to join in on this course in the next. Awesome. I'd love to have you anytime, Megan, whenever it's right for you. Take care. Well, okay. You told me your name. iPhone 13. I'm like scrolling through. What's your name again? McCall. Thanks for being here, McCall. Thanks for being here, Aubrey. Can I help either of you before this call ends with anything else? And this is being recorded, so I'll send this out. Thank you so much. I missed the first 15 minutes. I noticed the recording. And yes, so I am going to upload this to YouTube, and you will be getting an email in like 6 hours. So it's in like the middle of the night with the replay link. And if for some reason you don't get that email, just message me and I'll send you the link to the YouTube video and then you can watch that. Okay, awesome. Thank you, McCall. Thank you, Aubrey. Have a good night. And yeah, maybe I'll see you. Thanks, guys.